What's a hack in your industry that customers aren't supposed to find out? I worked at a restaurant and one time the chef burned the applesauce that was supposed to be served with the pork chop. He put it on the menu as smoked applesauce, and people loved it. This works as a mom with kids too. You mess up in the kitchen, get fancy with the dinner name, and kids will eat it. Just because you're on hold doesn't mean we can't hear you. Another fun one. If you're using a chat feature, we can see what you type even before you hit enter. I've seen some wild things typed then deleted. This is a socially anxious person's nightmare, thanks. Dog trainer, this is a hack we want people to understand. One reason we can get your dog to do something so fast is because we use a high rate of reinforcement. Example, I'm training your dog to walk on leash without pulling, and we practice in your driveway. I feed the dog 20 tiny pieces of food by my knee as we walk to the end of the driveway. The first time a client tries the exercise, they may use 5. The mechanics of the exercise look easy, but it takes time to get used to. And when people are practicing on their own, they do other things instead of focus on the exercise. They forget how often they need to reinforce the dog for doing the right thing. If they do the exercise for 2 minutes during each walk with a high rate of reinforcement, ROR, that may be all it takes. And once the dog starts to learn, you can gradually slow down the ROR. Also, stop calling your damn dog's name to correct them. Their name is not a punishment. It should be used for endearment and get them to come to you. Use a real correction, because calling their name over and over doesn't do shit and they don't understand. It's also consistency. Dogs, I don't know about other animals, are always studying body language and vocal tone. If you do and say the same thing the same way every time, the dog will learn very fast. It's posture, body language, and tone. I learned that a long time ago, and every dog I've had is very obedient. I don't have to yell or discipline them. I've also had multiple dogs that would like to ignore me when I called their name. I know damn well that dog knows his name. I have an older dog, so if the new dog doesn't come when I call it, I just call my old dog's name. Works 100% of the time. The aloof dog that's ignoring you will come when you call the other dog to see if it got treats, etc. Accounting is called a sticky business because we don't lose clients often unless we are terrible. We continually raise rates and overcharge because we know clients will just stay with the same person they know rather than search around. It may be hard to evaluate who is a bad versus good versus great accountant, but that won't matter unless you have a difficult situation or specialized work to be done. What matters is you might find an accountant willing to do the same work for a lot cheaper if you can just put in a little extra time to ask them to ballpark their rates. Think of it this way. People regularly go to different grocery stores, convenience stores, and gas station marts to save a few dollars on things like eggs, candy, or milk. I found eggs for $1.50 when they're normally $2.50 is some big accomplishment. What if you found an accountant willing to do your work for $3,000 instead of $5,000? Isn't that worth a few more calls and meetings that you would gladly use time on to find cheaper eggs? This was 6-7 years ago, so may not be relevant, but when I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, the higher-ups were so tunnel-visioned on positive customer reviews that if there was any problem at all, we would write off anything from gas to whole days of rentals. We had a few repeat customers that would catch on and habitually complain about dumb shit to get parts of the bill discounted. Only a rating of completely satisfied counted, and it was tied to bonus and promotion, so a huge incentive to make people happy. Worked at the Orlando International Airport, Iraq. We did about 3,000 car returns a day during peak season. It was such a profitable location that we gave away so much. People leaving in sports cars if they have a mid-size rental, free GPSs, etc. Some guy returned a car and said, "Hey, I got a warning light to add wiper fluid, so I went and spent a few bucks and topped it off." My manager gave him $150 off his rental for the inconvenience. He wasn't even mad about having to top off the fluid, he was just letting us know. Another time, we had a family with a full Disney trip booked with young kids late at night. You can tell which families are just kind of barely getting this trip pulled off and aren't really flush with cash. They asked about extending their rental before leaving, and I tried to match their daily rate and ended up setting their weekly rate as the daily rate. They basically got another week free. They were insanely grateful, and my manager didn't bat an eye. I do miss that job. When I worked in a hotel as a night porter, the room cost was totally reliant if you were a dick or not. I obviously couldn't just give rooms away, but I could pretty much knock off 50%. One day, a very tired woman came in with her baby, and I couldn't get the payment to go through at all, so I did give it to her for nothing. Just had to make sure she was out before 9 a.m., and I cleaned it myself. Thank you for all the upvotes, awards, and kind words. That's very kind of you. It must depend heavily on the hotel. I once walked into a hotel late and asked how much rooms were. It was more than I wanted to pay. I went outside and looked at Priceline, booked it online for much cheaper, then walked right back inside with a reservation. If you or a teenager you know are admitted to a name brand, like expensive, rich college, and their financial aid package isn't enough, write them and ask them for more money. Mention the other schools you were admitted to and that you received strong financial packages from them. Do not mention specific numbers unless it's a named scholarship, e.g. presidential or provost. At least 5 of my students this year got between 10-20 extra in scholarship money just by soliciting for it. I did this applying to law schools and even told them scholarship offers from other schools, and it was huge. I did this applying to law schools and even told them scholarship offers from other schools, and it was huge. I used to work in the floral industry. Don't call a large national florist. Look up a local florist in your recipient's area and call them directly. Most have websites to help you choose, and you'll save money on delivery and service fees, which can go towards a nicer arrangement. Also, unless you order flowers regularly, the membership loyalty program is a scam and hard to cancel. Former movie theater manager. As long as you purchase something and don't cause a fuss, you can see multiple movies and no one cares. It's only an issue if you cause an issue and we need the concessions. Also, we all know that you sneak stuff in. Most impressive I've seen? A full rotisserie chicken and a box of wine snuck into Magic Mike. It's okay as long as you don't cause a scene, and again, buy something. Sneak in that candy, buy the popcorn. Lol, I always thought that this was just how you do it. You sneak all the candy you want but buy drinks. Used to do this as kids. We'd ride our bikes to the retail center, buy loads of sweets and drinks from Walmart, buy a ticket to one film, then pop into another one once that's finished. Great times for a bunch of 12-year-olds on a rainy day. Delivery driver here. Not much of a hack, but loads of people don't seem to know this. If you create an account with the courier who's delivering your parcel, when logged in, you can set up a safe place where we can deliver your parcel to if you're not at home. We'll follow the instructions and leave it wherever you want us to. Within reason, of course. You can probably also do it from the tracking link, but with an account it'll be set up for every single delivery to your address automatically. Makes both our lives an awful lot easier. Most industries have retention teams because it costs 10x more to get a new customer than it costs to keep one you have. So if you call up and complain, threaten to cancel every other time they raise your rates, they'll probably give you the introductory rate. Just be aware you might have to switch. Edit threaten to cancel added. Edit 2. Another thing I'm seeing a lot is people getting shut down with no explanation. People hang up and call back. Just say you got disconnected, you might have better luck with another operator. Yes, they take notes, but some reps are more empowered than others. Also, feel free to escalate. Make sure you know how long you've been a customer and how long you've been up to date on your bill. When I worked as a pharmacy tech, I spent a lot of time calling insurance companies and waiting on hold while the world burned around me. One time, I got impatient with the voice recognition bot because it kept hearing background noise and made selections impossible, so I started cursing it out. Turns out, if you say the F word a few times in a short span, the bot recognizes you as an angry customer and will switch you to a representative real quick. I did this multiple times to a lot of strange looks from my coworkers until I explained the hack. Quick edit since I'm getting a lot of the same responses. I now know that you can spam 0 or hash to get the same results. It's a feature being phased out in places. Shouting representative or operator also works. You don't have to buy solar panels from some door knocker for $20K, $30K. There's absolutely nothing magical or financially superior about what they do. You can just buy the parts or a kit and hire an electrician to install it for about half the retail price. I don't work there anymore, but I used to work for a cable internet ISP. You weren't supposed to know this, but when customers complained about slow, hardwired speeds, we'd show up and pretend to do something, knowing full well that the issue was our nodes being oversaturated everywhere. But we would never tell you. We eventually introduced something called Power Boost to mask the problem by skewing speed tests. Your first 20 seconds would be uncapped bandwidth, and you would think you were getting a quality product when you weren't. So fraud? Bartender here. If you're at an event with an open bar or something similar, tip $20 cash on your first drink and introduce yourself to your bartender. If it isn't crazy busy, give them the cash and say some variation on, "Hey X, good to meet you. My name's Mike. I'm going to be drinking your drink order all night. Thanks for taking care of us at this event. Guarantees good service, skipping the line, etc." My husband and I would go to a conference every year and the bartender always remembered us and would say, "The usual?" to make sure we were drinking the same cocktails from the year prior. The conference was 3 days, so we always made sure to tip him well. You can do most maintenance on your own car. I'm a professional mechanic and my best resource for information is a quick YouTube search. I'm a reasonably handy guy, but it took me 2 hours to change the bulb in my headlight. I swear manufacturers are making it more difficult to do basic things. Software development. We've no fucking idea, but we'll say yes and Google it later. Works every time. That's kind of the upfront nature of any engineering-adjacent job, accurately binning stuff into simple, solvable, and impossible prima facie, and working out the details later. It's support. You can fix 90% of your problems by turning hardware off and on again. Also, if you're nice to us instead of being horrible, we will fix your problem faster. IMO customer support is not paid enough for all the shit they have to deal with. Customers are very fucking rude through the telephone. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribe and comment if have some amazing hacks in your industry. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.